I recently survived a screening of the 2 hour and 37-minute film that is House of Gucci. So that is how Tom Ford starts his review of the new film based on a situation that he knows very well. So he began working for Gucci in 1990. He served as the creative director for the company from 1994 to 2004, and he was interviewed several times for the book that ended up becoming the basis for the film. So Tom writes for Airmail, "Somehow I felt as though I'd lived through a hurricane when I left the theater. Was it a farce or a gripping tale of greed? I often laughed out loud, but was I supposed to?" Now Tom does forgive the creative license that the film takes in several situations, but he does take note of one fictional scene. "Gucci never toasted me after my first show as he does in the film. Movies have a way of becoming truth in people's minds, an alternate reality that in time obliterates the reality of what was. Viewers are subject to pointless and sometimes confusing scenes that seem to exist solely for the purpose of allowing the lead actors to act." Yeah, so for most of his review, Tom focuses on the performances and he praises Adam Driver. So Tom says Adam gives a subtle, nuanced performance. He's the calm in the eye of the storm that swirls around him as his fellow actors all battle to see who can chew up the most scenery. Oh man. Okay, now he also praises Jeremy Irons and Salma Hayek. But when it comes to Al Pacino and Jared Leto, he says watching those two, I was not completely sure that I wasn't watching a Saturday Night Live version of the tale. Pacino delivers a commanding but very, very large portrayal of Aldo, who by all accounts was an elegant and savvy businessman. Leto's brilliance as an actor is literally buried under latex prosthetics. Both performers are given license to be absolute hams and not of the prosciutto kind, haha. They must have had fun. Paulo, who I met on several occasions, was indeed eccentric and did some wacky things, but his overall demeanor was certainly not like the crazed, seemingly mentally challenged character of Leto's performance. Whew. Now Tom does save the best for last, Lady Gaga, who he calls the true star of the film. It is her film and she steals the show. In her often over-the-top portrayal of Patrizia Gucci, her accent migrates occasionally from Milan to Moscow, but who cares? Her performance is spot on. Her face is the thing that one can't take one's eyes off of. When she is on screen, she owns the frame. He concludes his review by saying, I was deeply sad for several days after watching House of Gucci, a reaction that I think only those of us who knew the players in the play will feel. It was hard for me to see the humor and camp in something that was so bloody. In real life, none of it was camp. It was at times absurd, but ultimately it was tragic. So my question for you all is this. Do you put more weight into Tom's review because he knew the situation so well, or do you think he is too close to the situation to have an unbiased opinion of it? That's my question. Now, I couldn't help but think that he was careful not to diss Lady Gaga because he still wants her to wear his fashions. But then on the other hand, I'm sure he still wants to dress Jared Leto, and he certainly goes after Jared Leto. So yeah, maybe that didn't factor into his review at all. But yeah, what do you think of Tom's heavy criticism of House of Gucci?